We were sitting here. Who was chasing? Because there's so many of them at this point. And we more than an hour after the parade was supposed to cycle simply because it's been so cold. A lot of them leave, and they're at the head of this parade.
What a sight, those motorcycles paving the way for the President of the United States to begin this parade, and they'll be followed by a lot of very, very happy participants who've come in from all over the country. Don Lemon was telling us you've been speaking to some of the law enforcement. What were they saying to you?
The guy who worked on presidential details and said this is by far the largest undertaking when it comes to protecting a president. And wherever he's going to get out and walk, it is planned, as Candy said, planned out very well. It's very well planned out, and to make sure that he is completely protected when he does get out and walk. And a lot of people, when you sit at home and watch this, you sort of, hold your breath as the president gets out because you fear a little bit for his safety. But I think with, the security we have now, at least this president, hopefully everything will be safe.
And it really is, the presidency has become a gilded cage. And this is going to be very hard for him to adjust to. The elaborate precautions that are totally appropriate. Secret Service doing the right thing. I don't think there is such a thing as excess in a parade like this.
It looks different though when you're looking at it through bulletproof glass.
It sure does. It sure does.
The motorcade is beginning with those motorcycles. They're moving down Pennsylvania Avenue. In fact, they're approaching not very far from where we are right now here at 6th and Pennsylvania, and they're getting ready for the presidential limo to follow suit.
That's the view from the museum. A lot of folks inside viewing the motorcade as it passes by. A great vantage point to stay warm and see it from this remarkable museum.
And we're up on the roof at this museum, so we have a good vantage point as well. These Secret Service agents that are going to be accompanying the limo, they're going to be walking the whole time. You see 4 of them. They walk in front and behind, and presumably once the president gets out of that limo and walks a little bit with the First Lady, we'll be able to enjoy that moment. It'll be one of those traditional moments here on this inaugural day. There was quite a day to begin with. It's been an amazing day when you think about everything that has happened, Anderson, and on top of everything else, Senator Ted Kennedy getting ill once again at that luncheon, and we're following that story as well. We'll update our viewers with what we know as soon as we get more information.
There's an 8-person color guard actually leading this procession right behind the motorcycle police officers who you saw. So we're really, they are going at a very walking pace. I'm not sure if they're going to speed up at some point, but certainly Barack Obama waving to folks who have lined the parade route. People very excited. You can kind of get a glimpse of him, a silhouette of him inside that vehicle. And for many, that is enough.
And just remember, the bottom of your screen, we're mapping out the route that he's taking from Capitol Hill over to the White House, the final reviewing stand over there at Lafayette Park, outside the north lawn of the White House. And so you'll have a sense of how far along this parade route he is. 1.7 miles, as we've been saying.
This is the view that Barack Obama himself is getting from our camera, which is on a truck right in front of the presidential vehicle.
This is the first inaugural parade we've had in which most of the people who watch the parade will not have been at the inaugural itself. There was simply not room. So you had to make a choice which you would see. I think it gives you some sense of just how gigantic this crowd truly has been today.
Some sense of the marching bands and the color and the...
That's the color guard which is leading the entire procession.
Yeah, then eventually you'll see a lot of floats. All right, we have a special guest I want to talk to right now, Congressman John Lewis, joining us, one of the real pioneers in the civil rights movement in the United States. This is a you've been waiting for, Congressman, for a very long time. First of all, how did you react when he became the President of the United States?
When Barack Obama stood and took the oath of office and became the President of the United States, I continued to just look and start saying to myself, this is unreal, this is unbelievable. Then I was able to look beyond the Lincoln, the Washington Monument, and see the Lincoln Memorial. And then my mind started reflecting back to the suffering, the struggle, the arrests, the jailings, the Dr. King, to Robert Kennedy, to John Kennedy, and to Lyndon Johnson. And I wish so much so that they all were here to witness what we all witnessed today here on the west front of the United States Capitol.
You saw the dark days of the civil rights movement back in the 60s and even darker in the 50s. Did you ever think you would reach this moment?
During those dark and difficult and bitter days, I never thought that I would live to see this moment. This is a moment of hope. It's a moment of gratitude, a moment of thanksgiving. It only could happen in America, that we could come so far in such a short time.
What did you think of the message we heard from the president in his inaugural address?
Well, the president today, he spoke honestly, straightforward, and told us that we have some difficult days ahead, that the country is in a tough period. But by pulling together and working together, we can overcome. That was the beginning of the message. And I think it was important for him to speak very candidly with the American people, but to say that we've been able to come through struggle and difficulty before, and we can do it again.
Congressman Lewis, this is all happening the day after we honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You worked with him, you knew him, you fought with him. Had he been alive today, what would he think?
If Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had been alive today, he would have said, I told you that one day we will make it to the promised land. As he said the night before he was assassinated, he said, I've been to the mountaintop, I looked over and I seen the promised land, and we will get there as a people. I may not get there with you, but as a people and as a nation, we will get there. Well, we may not be there yet, but I think what happened today with the inauguration of this young man as president, it is a significant down payment on making the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. become a reality.
I know you've waited a long time for this, Congressman Lewis. Thanks so much for sharing some thoughts with us here on CNN. Our viewers in the United States and around the world are grateful to you. We appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you, sir.
Congressman John Lewis of Georgia, the Democrat, the legendary civil rights leader. All right, you see the parade. It's continuing, Anderson, down Pennsylvania Avenue, not very far away from where we are. In fact, right now, we're high above this parade route.
Remarkable to see all these military platoons, the Army platoons, Marines, the Fife and Drum Corps, Commander-in-Chief's Guard. We don't get to see this sort of thing very much in this country, but it is always remarkable when we get to this, when we're able to.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but continue our special coverage. There it is, the presidential limo inside Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, the First Lady of the United States. Actually, we're not going to take a quick break. We're going to continue our coverage. You see this parade route moving down. They're approaching where we are here at the museum on 6th and between 5th and 6th on Pennsylvania Avenue. Soledad, John Lewis lived to see this moment, and we all remember what he went through, and it really wasn't all that long ago, within the lifetime, not only his lifetime, but a lot of people's lifetime right now who are watching. Remind our viewers what he went through.
Yeah, you know, he told us yesterday that he didn't think he'd be able to make it through the ceremony without crying, and he has been crying really the entire weekend. Of course, he was a pioneer in the civil rights struggle, a close associate of Martin Luther King Jr., beaten brutally, really committed himself to fighting segregation, but also, you know, some of his words have been echoed by some of the young people who are so excited to be part of this parade. Told me the same thing. I don't think I can march in the parade without crying. I'm going to try to make 200 applicants, so 3 times the number usually for an inaugural parade.